Grab your popcorn, kick back and relax, because it's time for some more Karnage. So, in today's video, we got a guide on troop targeting. I did try to cover this once before in my very early days. Not many people that watch my videos will probably even remember that, but basically, I messed it up and I deleted the video about 30 minutes after it went live, because I realized how badly I messed up afterwards. And basically, I'm much more, how would I describe it? I'm much more grown as a player, and now I actually understand how all this crap works. So, although I did my research before I did that last time, I didn't really do a good job of it. So now I've always wanted to recover this topic and do a proper guide on it, and now it's here. There are a lot of people on YouTube that have done guides on this, but many of them have gotten this wrong. The only YouTuber that I believe that does Boom Beach that's ever gotten it right is probably zmots. Zmots done this and gotten it right. And to date, I think it took him 2 videos to cover this topic, just because he forgot a few points during the first one he did. I've always wanted to cover it too, so I thought I'd do it as well. So, here it is. So, troop targeting. Basically actually, we'll go back to the first one. Basically how troop targeting works. There's 3 sets of priorities to troop targeting, right? This is how I like to think of it. So, if nothing's damaged, it goes after simply what's closest. Now, keep in note here that the buildings that are surrounding the Zookas are all actual defenses. So, like snipers, machine cannons, shock launchers, flamethrowers. There's no machine guns, but that would work too. Mortars, rockets, prototypes. All those are actual defenses that are going to hurt troops. Whenever each Zooka acts as an individual. It's not like, oh, I've got a whole group of Zookas and most of them are closest to this, so that's what everything will target. No. Every Zooka is an individual, so the ones at the bottom, if this smoke, will probably target the shock launcher. Say, the bottom left one, that'll probably most definitely target the shock launcher, because they're closest to the shock launchers. The ones on the top right, they're closest to the sniper, so they'll probably shoot at the sniper. The ones in the middle to the right are probably closest to the cannon, so they will most likely shoot at the cannon. So we'll sort of see how this goes, and I'll probably put this on half times just so you guys can see this in slow motion. Yep, so I was right. So those Zookas that I pointed out did target those specific things. You don't really need to know individual Zookas what each one's going to do, but in general, this is how it works. So you know where you place your flare becomes very important, because how they spread out is going to determine very much so how they target everything. So that's the first priority. When nothing's damaged and they're surrounded by only defenses, that's what happens. Now we're going to look at what happens when something is damaged. And this is where stuff gets a little interesting. Actually, I'll scout this because I think I want you guys to see the health of the buildings first. So, we'll scout this. So, as you guys just seen, I artilleried both the shock launcher and the flamethrower. The flamethrower has 10,500 health. The shock launcher has 15,000. So, how this works is, you guys have played this game long enough at this point to probably know this. When you artillery a building, you see like a little health bar above it. What you need to do is think of that health bar as a percentage. So it's not, oh, I've dropped an artillery that does 6,000, so now this has 4,000, and that'll have about 9,000. No. It doesn't matter how much health the building has. How little or how much. It doesn't matter. What matters is the percentage of health it has left. So, if I artillery this for 6,000, it's gonna have about 4,000. It's gonna have about 4,000 left, which is about 40% of its total health. If I artillery this, however, that'd be like what, 60, 70%, something like that. So this has a lot less in terms of percentage than what the shock launcher does. So if I place my Zookas so that they're all in range, they should all target the flamethrower, not the shock launcher. And that's how everything works when everything that they're in range of is damaged. Oops. So we'll view that replay and we'll see what happens. So we'll put them in range. Now I did mess up a little bit because my flare, although it's pretty close, the Zookas on the very back right corner was actually somewhat out of range. I believe. Oh wait, no, I think that's the next attack actually. We should be all good on this one. I think it's the next one I messed up on. Yeah, okay, it's the next one. So they all went after the flamethrower there, and then the shock launcher, and that's what we predicted was going to happen. So the next one is going to be damaging one building and not the other. So this one we seen when we dropped an artillery on that. That one got targeted first, and not the shock launcher. But now with nothing else is damaged, and it's only the shock launcher, damaged buildings will always get the priority over something that isn't damaged. This is a pretty standard targeting, and most people know this. Now this is where I messed up. The ones on the very back right corner were actually out of range of the shock launcher. So you'll see that those back two are actually pointing at the flamethrower, and that's why. So if those particular Zookas being out of range, even though that shock launcher was actually damaged, because they were out of range, they're not going to move forward to target it, because they're out of range. They're going to naturally pick a target that is in range and shoot at that instead. Which is why you've seen that those particular ones started shooting at the flamethrower. Zookas have a range of about 6 grid squares or so, 5 or 6 grid squares. It's about there. So you want to make sure you're pretty close to your target if you're relying on that damage, but it doesn't matter. So the only other exception to this that I found is, we'll go and scout this base again. Say this cannon, say this cannon and this sniper tower was like storages or economy buildings. They always get like ignored. The troops always will target like actual defenses before they go after economy. I'm not sure why that is. I've actually done multiple tests for that, and it's almost like they have like an inbuilt set of priority where it's like, we're going to target this and not that. Because I did tests before where I had these as economy, and I placed my flare all the way like up the top, so like it was obvious that the Zookas were closer, and they didn't target it. They ignored. I tried putting defenses in different orders and stuff. They always went after the defenses first, and then the economies last. So I'm not sure why that is, but it's just how it is. And it's also that way on Gearheart too. If you've ever watched a YouTuber do Gearheart, the Zookas always tend to ignore like the cells. They'll go after the buildings first, and then the cells. And of course, if some Zookas are out of range of a building, then of course they're going to go after cells because they've got nothing else to shoot at. But that's how troop targeting works anyway. If you guys want to see me do a video on Everspark, I can do a video on Everspark's Universal Remote. Everspark's Universal Remote works exactly the same way, so as a normal troop targeting does. all troops, by the way, will tend to target the same way. Maybe warriors will be a bit different, because they actually have to walk to their target. They can't just shoot at it. So they'll probably just go after the buildings that are closest, I believe. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, smack the thumbs up button. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and I was able to teach you guys something about troop targeting. At this point, I don't know how many people actually don't know this stuff, but I wanted to bring it to the channel. It was something that always disappointed me about what I did originally. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that, and I'll see you guys in the next one.